All right, good afternoon from Ollantaytambo again. Today, I'm gonna take a hike to one of the lesser known ruins around here. So my plan is to go to Pumamarca Ruin. It's supposedly not often visited by tourists, so I'm gonna check that out. I'm at the trailhead right now. I'll get you a view of that. So when you walk up from Ollantaytambo town, you're basically going to be following this dirt road. Once you get to this yellow house right here, it kind of forks off and you can see the Pumamarca sign right there. And then just head up this trail. So what I did and what I'm going to do is I took an Uber up here, and that cost just over 7 soles. He did end up asking for more in the end, only 5 more soles, which I didn't really mind paying. The road out here is not very good, and it took us a decent amount of time to get here, so I didn't mind throwing him an extra 5 soles. It was still only it was $3, which is a really good deal because when I was researching how to get here, I was seeing people say that they were paying 40 soles, so I didn't mind that. But yeah, I took a taxi to the trailhead, and then I'm gonna walk back down the whole way back into town. All right, so we're at a junction here. I think that's just somebody's house over there. This way. Media Luna, I've never heard of that one. But, well, there's an arrow over here that says go up there. It looks pretty intense. But let's go. Quick view. Like I was saying before, I don't have any idea how long this hike is. I don't think it's that long. We'll find out. Check this out. It's a whole these are all eucalyptus trees. It's a whole eucalyptus forest. It looks like maybe there's a resort down there. Maybe some well, actually, yeah, no, I think that is a resort. And it looks like it's got some of those domes, like the geodomes, that you can stay in. They're probably pretty expensive. Stuff like that is actually really not very affordable around here. Like, you can get hotels and Airbnbs, really nice ones, for very cheap. I don't think I've been paying more than like $45 a night for any of my Airbnbs, and they've all been fully equipped with full kitchens, hot water in the showers. Some of them actually had hot water on all the taps, which is rare. But yeah, if you want like like they have those like those geodomes down there, and they have the big glass ones that you can stay in. And I think back in Urubamba there was like those glass bubbles that are like hanging off the side of a cliff. You can stay in those. But all of these experiences are like $200 to $400 a night. And I'm sure it's a blast and I'd love to do it, but it just doesn't seem very affordable. Maybe someday I'll come back and do something like that. So I do want to come back here someday. I don't know if it's going to be my next trip. I don't know what my next trip's going to be, but I do want to come back and see maybe the northern side, northern area of Peru, in the Amazon. It was kind of my goal to do that this time, but with 2 weeks, the logistics of just getting enough time in each area to really like get to know the area, it just didn't line up. So I was originally going to go to, I was going to stay in Cusco for a little bit and then go to Pisac, and then I wanted to really get like some of the really high Andean highlands, but like I was saying, the time frame just wasn't adding up. And then I wanted to go to Tarapoto, which is a it's on the edge of the Andes, kind of where it goes into the Amazon, and so it's kind of a mountainous tropical environment. Kind of reminded me of like Da Nang, Vietnam, which is why I wanted to go there. And I want to see Iquitos as well, and go to the north and see some of the cloud forests up there. I would have loved to see Quaylap, but with 2 weeks it just wasn't enough time, and I didn't want to spend all the time I had in airports or just traveling. So next time. And on that note, I've been to a few tropical countries, so I kind of just wanted to try something different. My last 4 vacations were to Asia, so I figured it was time to try a different continent. I've never been to South America before. And I've never even been south of the equator before. It's the first time. I've also never traveled alone before. This is the first time I've ever gone anywhere by myself. It's not as intimidating as you would think. I mean, as long as there is the language barrier thing, but even that's not that bad. I mean, if you just have a little bit of problem solving skills, like you can still communicate with people just because you don't know their language. And definitely, before you go to a country, learn a few words. You know, I'm not saying take a course, but any sort of, you know, the basics. Hello, thank you, goodbye. Maybe a couple types of food, water. If you're gonna be moving around a lot, maybe some basic directions. But for the most part, you're gonna be fine. The language barrier doesn't have a lot to do with it. It's more of just like, do you know how to properly function and get around in a society? If you can do that in your home country, you can do it in another country. If you can call a taxi or hail a bus down or order food in your own country, you can do it in another country. You don't have to know their language. But like I said, you should at least learn a few phrases. For one, it will help you, and two, you know, the locals will genuinely appreciate it if you take the time to learn a few phrases in their language. Maybe not the more common ones. I mean, mostly everyone knows Spanish. Mostly everyone knows a decent amount of Spanish. Most American schools teach Spanish or French. So I guess if you're in a Spanish-speaking country, it's not that uncommon for tourists to know a decent amount of Spanish. But if you're in an Asian country or an African country or a country with a language that's not widely spoken, like Cambodia, they speak Khmer. Vietnam, obviously Vietnamese. Lao. If you take just a little bit of time to learn a few phrases in their language, they'll really appreciate it. And that's kind of what my goal for this YouTube channel is going to be. I want to show people that it is possible to travel on your own, even to these more unknown destinations. And hang on, there's a sign here. Okay, hang on a second. Pumamarca campsite, 31 kilometers. What the hell is that? Oh, you know what? Maybe that's supposed to be 3.1 kilometers because it says 19 kilometers to Ollantaytambo, but that's where I left, and that certainly was not 19 kilometers away. It better not be 31 kilometers. Anyway, though, yeah, so what I really want to develop this YouTube channel into is, yeah, like I was saying, showing people that it's absolutely possible for just a regular person to have these travel experiences. You know, before 4 years ago, I'd never even left the country, and to be honest, didn't really ever think of doing it until I took a vacation to Aruba just after COVID. And I mean, that was just Aruba, and instantly I was hooked. Now, I'm not a resort person. I've never stayed in a resort. Even on Aruba, I stayed towards the center of the island in the Airbnbs where the locals are. And I find that's usually just better. It's cheaper, and you know, obviously you gotta worry about transportation if you're gonna be far away from any of the touristy areas, but yeah, that's really not so bad. And then after that, I went to Vietnam and fell in love with Asia. Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore. And yeah, that's what I want to show you, that it's possible to do these things on your own. And it doesn't have to break the bank either. And my goal is to kind of give advice to people on how to not only get to these places the most efficient and cheapest way possible without going too cheap. You know, on YouTube there's countless backpacker channels that will, of course, show you how to get across the country on backpacker budget, which is pretty much nothing. But I want to, hang on, I'm at a fork here. I think we just go straight. Yeah, I want to show how an average person, average working class, like me, I'm a chef, I work 6 days a week, every week, and I want to show that it's possible to do these things on a decent budget that's by no means luxury, also not backpacker budget while you know, when you're just sleeping in hammocks. So yeah, very down the middle content is what I'm trying to come up with. And I also want to avoid most of the touristy areas in these places. Obviously I'm in Peru right now, and I did not go to Macchu Picchu. There's hundreds of videos on Macchu Picchu out there already, and there's so many more ruins around the area. Hola. Yeah, there's countless, hundreds of ruins around here that aren't Macchu Picchu, and you don't have to pay. It's expensive to get to Macchu Picchu. You have to take the train, and that's kind of like a touristy deal in itself. I want to do like kind of a destination unknown thing. Jesus. On a middle class budget affordable, but not backpacker. And I even would like to dabble into, you know, how to get to these places. You know, the most efficiently and not too much money. So yeah, I would love to give advice on that. Obviously this channel's brand new right now, so I only have a couple followers and not a lot of views. But if anyone does come across this video and wants to know anything about Asia, Southeast Asia, or Peru, or how to get there efficiently, or what to do around the Cusco area, definitely drop a comment and I'd be glad to help out with that. Getting back to the trail, this is different. This is like, it's almost like getting into jungle area. Like it was so dry and just normal Andes around the corner, and then it just came around this bend and went down a little bit. And that's cool. It looks like it's getting back to just dry Andes again right over there. It must be like... the ground must be like... there must be an aquifer over there or something. The ground must be very saturated for all that to grow. Oh, cool. Like this is just out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's a really, really small town. I wouldn't even call it a town. It's just kind of like a group of houses. That's way, way down in that valley, but from what I can see, like this, just a handful of, like these houses. I've passed probably 3 or 4 of them, but like they're really spaced apart. And look at the irrigation they have out here. So cool. Yeah, just these tiny properties out here. That's all there is. I mean, clearly they're farms. I did see a couple horses a little ways back. All right, we're coming up on our first glimpse of the Pumamarca Ruins. Way over there. This hike was definitely a lot longer than anticipated, but whatever, it'll be worth it. As long as my calf doesn't blow out on the way down, then we'll be in trouble. ¿Para?
Sí.
How much? 10 soles?
Sí, sí, $10. ¿Qué tienes? Ya, gracias.
Gracias.
Por ahí sí.
This way.
Sí, 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 más ahí. Da la flechita, ¿no? Allá,
Okay.
por ahí.
Gracias. Alright, well, I did get charged, but it wasn't a lot. I don't know if that was legit or not, but whatever. It was 10 soles. I mean, it looks legit to me. I mean, I got a ticket, so whatever. I thought it was free, but 10 soles, $3, not a big deal. Looks like we might have some weather coming in here. I am prepared though. I brought a rain jacket and rain pants. The only thing I'm worried about is thunder and lightning up here. Not much coverage. But the rain itself I'm not too worried about. All right. I am here. That was a long hike. That was a lot longer than I thought. Of course it was worth it. Oh wow. Okay. So apparently these ruins are both Incan and pre-Incan. Fortunately, I couldn't tell you which one is which, but that's the only thing I could find. There's not a whole lot of information on this. Plenty of these rooms. It is isolated. It is really isolated. This is far up. It's cold up here. I was sweating my ass off on the way up and now it's freezing. So definitely if you're gonna do this full hike, pack a jacket or a sweatshirt. This is quite large and well maintained. I am by no means saying don't go to Machu Picchu. If you want to go to Machu Picchu, by all means, go to Machu Picchu. I mean, it's a world wonder. But for me, personally, it's not really my prerogative to be carted around for hundreds of dollars with hundreds and hundreds of tourists. I mean, Machu Picchu is capped per visitor, or has a visitor cap per day of 2,000 people. They have to cap it off. 2,000 people a day that you're basically just in a line with, marching through Machu Picchu. And it's not cheap. It's not cheap at all. And the entrance fee is cheap, but once you factor in that you have to take the train to Aguascalientes from one of the nearby towns. Most people take it from Cusco, and that's the most expensive one because it's the furthest away. Back when I was going to come here with someone before I was coming on my own, I was looking up train tickets, and it was like $260. And that wasn't even from Cusco. I think that was from Ollantaytambo, which is the closest town to Machu Picchu. But like I said, if you really want to see Machu Picchu, absolutely. But when you come to places like this, you take a look around. I'm the only person here. And it's when you come to places like this that you really get a chance to disconnect and feel what it was like to be here all these hundreds of years ago. And that, for me, is more worth it than being carted around with a bunch of tourists and then walked in a line of 2,000 people through Machu Picchu. And I'm not saying I will never go to Machu Picchu. I will one day. I know I will. I would love to see it. But that's just not the track that I'm on right now. And of course, whenever you get to the top of any hike in Peru, you have to have an Inca Kola with you. Zero sugar, of course. For anyone that's never had one, it's interesting. It's bubblegum flavored. It's not necessarily my favorite, but I always bring one with me for a hike. All right. I am about to head back down the trail now. I'm probably going to close out the video now. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.